Hey, what is up guys, it's Galaxytech the Whole here, coming at you guys today with a brand new Pendulum Magician deck profile for this current format. Deck came out yesterday in TCG, in Europe at least. It's come out today for the rest of, for America. Been testing this build for a while since all the cards were announced in Japan, so I'm pretty happy with this build. I'll go right through it. It's got the Odd Eyes engine in it, as I think it should, because I do actually like the cards for it. So yeah, get straight off. Start with 3 copies of Dragonpit Magician. You really need this card. Can pop back row, but it's just mainly because it's got a high pendulum scale, and you kind of need that for this deck. Then playing 3 copies of Oafdragon Magician. I think these are a staple at 3. And then I'm running 3 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician. This card is absolutely insane in the deck because what this card does is it not only clears opens up a scale and puts a card in your extra deck to be special summoned, but it also then puts another magician in your pendulum zone as long as you've got one in your other pendulum zone. So if you do something like go Dragonpit Magician, and then you put this card in one scale, and then you put this card in the other, you can destroy this card and then search out like an Oafdragon Magician and put it straight into your scale. So yeah, it's really good. And it can also change pendulum scales as well, but I don't use that effect as much. So yeah, then running 2 copies even of Xiangke Magician. Just move those up. So what this card does is, mainly I run it because it's got a high attack and it's level 7, but it also, its effect is pretty good as well. It basically allows you to use an Xyz monster's rank as a level, so that you can pull out the effect of this, your Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, which is pretty good. So yeah. Then running 1 Nobledragon Magician, because I don't deem this card good enough to run it any more than 1. It's not that great in terms. It has no useful pendulum ability, and its special summon effect is pretty okay. As it is, I actually run only 2 synchro monsters in this build, so I don't see any need for more than 1. Plus I'm running Effect Veilers, which are extra tuners as well, but I never use them as tuners. So yeah, that rounds off the magician bit of the deck anyway. Then running 3 copies of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, because it's an Odd Eyes. This is the Odd Eyes variant. You want the Odd Eyes in there. It inflicts double damage when it destroys a monster, so that's pretty good. Also searches out other pendulums with 1500 or less attack, but that is quite long-winded. It's a bit slow, so I don't bank on it unless you've got a really dead hand. So yeah. Then running 3 Skullcrobat Joker. This card combined with Pendulum Sorcerer, when we get it at least, will mean the beginning of the end of the meta, to be honest. But yeah, I do like this card a lot. It's got a high scale. It's really good for searching out cards, and its monster effect is not once per turn, so you can do it any number of times per turn. Unfortunately, it's only when it's normal summoned though. So yeah, its pendulum ability is quite not very good, but So then running 2 copies of Archfiend Eccentric. It's just a generic pendulum that you run in any pendulum deck nowadays. So yeah. Then in the place of Apex Avians, which I haven't got yet, I found some cheap ones on Card Market, which is good. But yeah, in the place of those, for the time being, I'm running 2 copies of Chaos Hunter, because this card is really decent against Cosmo, because this just prevents things from being banished. So it's kind of like the anti-Darklord, and it's also a hand trap, so when your opponent just special summons a monster, you can discard a card and special summon it. So yeah. And also it being level 7 kind of helps with your plays, because you run a high rank 7 engine. So yeah, then running 2 copies of Effect Veiler, put those in camera shot, because you don't want your opponent's effects to go off, and it's you can use this if you wanted to make level 8s, but I'm not. So yeah. Then lastly, 2 copies of Maxx because you want to plus off of your opponent's special summons. So yeah. That rounds off the monsters. For the spells, I'm running, of course, you have to run this at 3. 3 copies of Pendulum Call. This searches out 2 magicians, which you really need, and the turn that you activate this, and also for your opponent's for the entirety of your opponent's next turn, your pendulum scales can't be destroyed, which does, and that last bit is the reason I'm not running Wavering Eyes at this current point. I side it in this deck, to be honest, but it does somewhat hinder your Wisdom Eye Magician, but you know, that's just that's like a very mild case in that, a mild problem. So yeah. Then I'm running 3 copies of Sky Iris. I actually do like seeing this card quite a lot because it allows you to search out the card in particular that I like searching out, which is your Odd Eyes Fusions. But it's just so good in terms, like, if you want to put another scale in, you can just get rid of any dead scales that you've got and then replace them. So yeah. Then, as aforementioned, I have 2 copies of Odd Eyes Fusion because this card is like, loads of people say this is just like polymerization, but it's a lot better than that, because if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters and you control none, then you can use any Odd Eyes from your extra deck, which, as you will see, I'm running a significant few, some of which are kind of more likely to be used as fusion materials. So yeah. Then I'm running 1 Terraforming to search out the Sky Iris, and 1 Raigeki for field clearance to push for game, basically. So yeah. Then lastly, for traps, I'm running 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill because I don't want my opponent's effects to go off, and there's a fair amount of discarding in this deck, so putting this in the graveyard to use during your turn when your opponent monster activates their effects, pretty good. So, and then finally 1 copy of Solemn Warning and 1 Torrential Tribute, because if you've got an established field of pendulum monsters, this isn't going to cause you too much trouble, and Solemn Warning I think is obvious at this point. It's really useful to stop your opponent's plays from summoning cards. So yeah, that rounds off the extra deck, the main deck I mean. So for the extra deck, running 2 copies of Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. This card is just incredible. It has a Utopia effect, but it's even better because when you stop the attack by detaching material, you can then summon 1 Odd Eyes from your graveyard, and because that's the second part of the effect, even if you don't have an Odd Eyes in your graveyard at the time of activation, when you detach a material, if it's an Odd Eyes monster, then there is an Odd Eyes monster in the graveyard for you to summon, because this is after the effect. So yeah. And also, when this card that's been Xyz summoned is sent to the graveyard, that being detached or anything like that, you can summon 1 Odd Eyes from your extra deck, which is pretty good. You can bring out anything from your beat stick to a fusion monster. So yeah. And speaking of, running 1 Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon mainly is a beat stick, but also you can get its very anime-oriented ability off to attack 3 times, destroy your opponent's monsters, and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's pretty good. So then I'm just running some generic 7s with rank 7s with it. So 1 Flare Metal, 1 Big Eye, and 1 Dracozac, because these are basically just staple rank 7s. You run them regardless of what you always run these in 7 spam decks. So yeah. So I'm then running a couple of 4s in the form of Abyss Dweller, because Burning Abyss is still floating around, and also it helps against Cosmo and Mermet and the upcoming Mermail builds with Neptibus. So yeah, it helps stop a lot of cards that activate in the graveyard. Any of your opponent's Cosmo ships in particular, I'm thinking of in this instance. Then running 1 Castel, just because it's staple. 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, because this is really useful to just get over your opponent's cards. And lastly, 1 Silent Anarch, because the same reason as Castel, it's just a standard. I was considering running 1 a Queen Dragon Djinn for the Odd Eyes stuff, but I decided not to at the last minute because it's too gimmicky and it's just very situational and not going to come out that often. So yeah, for the synchros, as I said, I'm only running 2 in the form of one Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon and one Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. So these cards are quite good. They're the only things you can, at this current point, I think they're the only things that I really feel I should play. I maybe Clearwing in the future. I mean, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst is great and all, but you can't use its effect and then attack with it because its effect prevents it from doing that. Moonlight Dragon is pretty good to just jam up your opponent's plays, so that's why I'm running it. Then for the fusions, I'm running 3 in the form of 2 Odd Eyes Vortex Dragons, because this card is pretty good. It just stuns your opponent's. It can just stun your opponent's plays quite easily. Yeah, and then lastly, 1 Rune Eyes. I generally use this with Odd Eyes Fusion, like sending it to the graveyard as fusion fodder for Vortex Dragon. It could be the other way around because its effect is kind of mediocre, but I think it's good enough to run. So yeah. So yeah, guys, that is the entire deck profile. I hope you guys like it. As usual, I hope you suggest improvements for the build. For the next build. I mean, I will be doing a lot of things with this deck. Hopefully I will be producing a Magispector variant soon, so got that to look forward to. I'll improve this deck as well because I do like this variant quite a lot. It's probably one of my favourite variants at the moment because it's just very centred around the Magicians. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. Peace out.